day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Amal Mukhtar. Welcome to this special coverage. The Israeli bulldozers began demolishing 25 buildings housing Palestinians in refugee camp in what the military said was an effort to root out armed groups in northern areas of the occupied West Bank. The buildings, home to some 100 families, are in the Nur Shams camp, a frequent site of clashes between Palestinians and Israeli forces. Earlier this year, the military have launched an operation it said was aimed at dismantling the Palestinian armed groups from camps in northern West Bank, including Nur Shams, Tulkarm and Jenin. Well, to shed more light on this, we have the pleasure to have with us over the phone our dear guest, the international relations expert, Dr. Monica William. Dr. William?
Hello?
Hello, Dr. William. Dr. William, Israel have demolished 25 buildings housing Palestinians in the West Bank. How do you assess these repercussions of the Israeli violations of the regional security?
The West Bank represents very most politically sensitive aspect of the Palestinian file recently. The so-called yellow line, a de facto limit of Israeli military and administrative control in the West Bank, become a critical reference point for managing settlement expansion, military deployment and Palestinian movement. Israeli action, especially in recent weeks, including the annexion of 9 and the new settlements, of course, the accumulative number or total is 59, which demonstrate a diplomatic steps of control north and south of this line. Politically, Netanyahu maneuvering around the yellow line allows Israel to retain significant territorial and strategic advantage while avoiding a full-scale international backlash. So, and of course, from the U.S. perspective, Trump approach doesn't derive from ethical consideration or recognition of Palestinian self-determination, but from pragmatism. Though limiting escalation in West Bank helps protect broader regional deals with Arab states and preserve Israel's international image and create a controlled environment for potential political negotiation. Yet, the structural reality is that Israeli government remains on the far right coalition with support settler militia and instability, and of course this makes a genuine political solution in the West Bank specifically increasingly untenable. And of course, beyond military operation or the ethnic targeting of schools and the universities of the Gaza Strip, of course, it's very important, and we can't tackle with this escalation or West Bank or Gaza file at all without mention them or try to read in depth and in a very critical way the visit of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to United States, as it's very important and very framed around Iran, Gaza and regional security, and West Bank, of course, would serve a political lifeline for Netanyahu, particularly in light of his legal challenge in case 4000. And Trump praised Netanyahu as the wartime prime minister and suggests that Israeli survival might have been under different leadership. A statement that encouraged Netanyahu image international or promote his image internally and carried limited operation weight on the ground.
Yes, Dr. William, Israel plans to expand the settlements of the Palestinian territories. So what is your intake on this? And the settlements is something that started years and years ago, and Israel is still continuing on its track.
Of course, it considers tactical control over half of Gaza Strip and West Bank, ensuring the Israel retains central leverage over security, crossing and co-construction of these settlements, and it's reduced its centrality in decision making. And if we try to read the different statements of leaders and political or military leaders of Israeli minister or Israeli soldiers and officials, the administrative complicated by Israeli Christian success in achieving key objectives of the conflict, and to cut the relation and demographic relations between the West Bank and Gaza file, of course.
Yes. Also, Dr. William, how do you weigh the outcomes of U.S. President meeting with the Israeli Prime Minister in Florida to implement the second phase of the Gaza ceasefire plan?
Of course, Gaza were precise in discussions. The outcomes, as we see, area mix of public, eternal, and practical uncertainty. Trump issued strong warnings to Iran, for instance, and he didn't mention how to tackle with the critical points on steps of the second phase of agreement. And it's very important, fundamental disagreement over implementation. Of course, public commitment must deeper contradiction. Israel intervention of the second phase focus exclusively on Hamas disarmament by facing any application such as reconstruction or withdrawal of Israeli troops from the yellow line, as we mentioned, which is consists
Yes.
53%, effectively converts that phase into a political uncertainty, almost undefined state.
Yes.
And the second phase and international forces, three commitment definition of the second phase, which is emergent. One, international division emphasized stabilization and the construction, and the gradual withdrawal. U.S. tried to enterprise or tackle with the second phase as without clear timeline, and Israeli reductive focus on Hamas disarmament.
Yes.
So Trump is leading the statements about the role of international forces portrayed as responsible for disarmament Hamas.
Yes, I thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your valuable information. Dr. Monica William, the international relations expert. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us in this special coverage of the recent events taking place in the Arab world and the Middle East. My name is Amal Mukhtar. Thank you for watching.